Hello there, welcome to my One Piece Devil Fruit Breakdown. Maybe you clicked this video because you're already an established fan of One Piece and just wanted to see what I had to say about them, or maybe you just finished watching the live action for the first time and you're curious about what else these things can do. Either way, this video is going to be explaining a lot of the main things that we currently know about Devil Fruits, while staying as spoiler-free to the actual story as possible. If you are indeed here after the live action, as a heads up, I am going to be looking at some characters that Season 1 and possibly Season 2 haven't gone over yet, although I will be trying my best to avoid things that are crucial for the plot, just in case you decide to try reading the manga or watching the anime yourself later. Also you. Yeah, you, the wise guy out there that's planning to post a comment with a major spoiler in it. I see you.
Don't fuck with me! I have the power of God and anime on my side! Wait,
In my personal opinion, one of the best things about any battle-focused anime is seeing just how creative the characters can get with their powers and abilities. As iconic as it is, when you really think about it, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure essentially boils down to a big ol' playground imagination fight. I shoot you with my gun, but I'm wearing a bulletproof vest. But I aim for your head. But I've got a helmet and I can redirect your bullets with my ice powers. But I can also redirect my bullets and I aim for the exposed spot on the back of your neck. But I closed the open neck hole of my armor and froze the surrounding air into capsules that I then slipped inside my suit, which then thawed out and became regular oxygen, thus allowing me to breathe and be completely immune to all bullets forever. I win. So I turned your gun into a banana. You get the picture. It can get so weird and obtuse, but that's part of what makes it so fun to watch. To that end, One Piece isn't an exception to this kind of thing either. It's been around for a crazy long time, and as such, has had so many characters with so many even crazier abilities. And while it doesn't have stands, usually, you wanna know what it does have? Fruit. There are a lot of characters in One Piece. You've got giants, you've got Mr. Krabs, you've got whatever this thing is, but a large bulk of the firepower in the series comes from the Devil Fruits. These are a special kind of fruit that will very rarely spawn, seemingly at random, anywhere in the world. If you eat one, you essentially get a superpower, with each Devil Fruit having a completely unique effect and ability. For the most part, anyway. In exchange for your new power, though, you forever lose the ability to swim. Here's how it's explained early on in the show.
I heard that the different fruits are incarnations of the Sea Devil. Supposedly, if you eat one, you gain devil powers, but the sea will hate you and take your ability to swim.
You'd have to be stupid to eat that thing. 12 seconds later.
I, Pirate Apprentice Buggy, am about to devour this devil fruit!
Now, honestly, that doesn't sound too bad at first, but keep in mind this is a story about pirates. People constantly fighting each other on a sea almost triple the size of the Earth. A sea filled with enemy pirates and giant, poodle-looking sea monsters. A sea where simply falling into it normally can mean your death anyway. And while we don't know much about their origins just yet, we have managed to scrape together some of the rules that Devil Fruits operate under. For starters, Devil Fruits are rare. So rare that most normal people in this world go their entire lives under the impression that they're just a fairy tale. Second, there's only one of each type of devil fruit, and two people can't share the same one. The second somebody takes a bite, the rest of the fruit becomes completely useless. Third, if you eat a devil fruit, the ocean hates you. Simply getting splashed with seawater is enough to completely drain your energy, and if you ever try to go swimming, you'll sink like a rock straight to the bottom and drown. Fourth, sometimes devil fruits come with weird side effects for their user. Like, there's one power that we'll be seeing in Season 2 of the live action that lets you eat literally anything in the world. Cannons, houses, metal, whatever the heck you want, and then you can incorporate it into your body and use it as a weapon. The trade-off, though, is that once you eat this devil fruit, you can never feel full ever again. But then another devil fruit just gives you really smooth skin, so it's kind of a toss-up as to whether these side effects are good or bad. 5, apparently they just taste really, really nasty. So Luffy just going ham here and eating the entire thing in one sitting is probably cause for concern. Finally 6, and most importantly, you can't have 2 devil fruit powers at once. If you ever try to eat a second fruit, you die. And apparently it isn't a clean death either. So yeah, those are the basics. Aside from the bit about side effects, since that's more of an oddity than anything else, each devil fruit will follow those rules. And hey, spoiler Bob, I still see you down there. Before you decide to actually me in the comments,
Get in the comments!
there are a few things about devil fruits that I'm electing not to mention here on purpose. Things that are more plot-focused, that are way more fun to discover by going through the series naturally. Now though, let's get into the things that you guys are really here for. How do these powers actually work?
He's made a robot!
How did that happen?
Yo ho ho, he took a bite of gum gum.
Like I said before, when you eat a devil fruit, you get a superpower in exchange for losing your ability to swim. But by nature, each devil fruit power itself can be grouped into one of three main categories: Logia, Zoan, and Paramecias. And I'm willing to bet that if you're not already familiar with One Piece, you probably don't know what any of those words actually mean. So let's go ahead and start things off by looking at the Logias first.
Krakatoa!
The Logia fruits are elementalists. Each one is tied to a different part of nature, and they tend to give their users the most immediately powerful abilities fresh out the box. But the primary benefit of any Logia is the power to manipulate whatever element your fruit represents, like creating massive sandstorms or molding ice into weapons. Even among the devil fruit categories though, these typically are even rarer to find than normal. Just by eating one, you usually have enough firepower to take out an entire army of people by yourself. The secondary benefit, though, is arguably the most dangerous, and that'd be the ability to avoid taking damage from attacks. See, when a Logia user is hit with something like, say, a bullet, their body can just transform the target area into their element, causing most things to just slip right through them. In the actual anime, the first ever example we see of a Logia fruit comes from Captain Smoker, a member of the Marines that the Straw Hat crew run into as the first major act of the story is wrapping up. As you might guess from his convenient name, Smoker ate the Plume Plume fruit, which does exactly what it sounds like.
Smoke weed every day.
Not only does this fruit give him the power to fly, you're a liar, Pell, it also gives him full control over any smoke that he creates. And as a bonus, I'm also going to assume it makes him immune to lung cancer. But eventually, he runs into Luffy, and while they're fighting, none of Luffy's attacks can actually land. This intangibility aspect's what makes these powers so scary, and for a long time in the series, Logia users are pretty much invincible. Although if you ask me, the scariest part about him is that his pants do in fact eat ice cream.
I'm sorry, my silly pants have eaten all your ice cream. Here, go buy yourself 5 scoops. Let's go.
Sir! Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Terrifying. Next up is Zoans, which are the furries of One Piece. You know, aside from the furries of One Piece. Huh. Anyway, Zoan fruits give you the power and form of an animal, and their users are absolutely the most physically strong of the three categories. The direct benefit of eating any Zoan fruit is a gigantic boost to your strength and durability, and out of all three devil fruit types, they are by far the strongest in any sort of direct combat. As one Zoan user described it,
the ability to enhance one's own personal strength happens to be the specialty of the Zoan type. In other words, the more we train, the stronger we get, which makes the Zoan type the most lethal when it comes to attacks at close range.
But on top of being the best physically, Zoan fruits will also give you the abilities your animal might have had for real, albeit scaled up massively. For example, let's say you ate the Bat devil fruit. Anything you imagine a bat can do, you'd likely be able to do yourself now. Flight's a gimme, thanks Pell, but you could also get things like a sonar or even vampiric powers if you want to go that route with it. And even though they mainly give you animal powers, what's really cool about Zoans is that anything that counts as a living creature has the potential to be a Zoan fruit. Take a look at resident mascot character Chopper. This little guy's actually just a regular reindeer that ate the human fruit, a Zoan type that gives its user all the mighty, awe-inspiring powers of a normal human guy.
Hi, how are you?
Now for a regular person, yes, that would be totally worthless. But for an animal like Chopper, it gave him human-level intelligence, the ability to speak, and I'm assuming a human-sized lifespan, so overall I'd say it's a pretty good deal. I mean, aside from all the trauma it caused him growing up, but that's beside the point. Lastly though, Zoan users have 3 different transformations that they can freely swap between. They've got their normal pre-fruit form, their animal form, and then a cross between the two. And yeah, in comparison to the ability of just being a sandstorm, that might sound kind of lame, but when you start getting Zoan fruits that let you turn into friggin' dinosaurs, it's suddenly a harder choice to make. And I mean, really, one of the flat-out coolest devil fruits in the entire series is the Phoenix Zoan fruit, which lets you have all the powers of that famous bird of myth, Moltres.
I am the flame that burns brightest. A flame that lights the night. A flame that shatters the darkness. I am a flaming Moltres.
That outfit, where'd he get it?
I think that costume came right out of his closet.
And last but certainly not least, you've got the Paramecias types, which are pretty much just everything else. Paramecias are by far the most versatile power sets, since they can really be anything that doesn't fit the previous two categories. Typically, they're things like the ability to create X or the ability to do Y. As an example of the former, one Paramecia fruit lets its user secrete and manipulate wax. He can make these elaborate wax statues and can control how goopy or solid the wax is, and the solid wax is apparently as hard as steel, which really opens up the door for all sorts of crazy ways he can wield this power. Despite how it looks though, it isn't a Logia, so someone that's fighting the user can still just... On the side of the ability to do Y, we've got things like the power to become invisible, the power to make your drawings come to life, the power to blow yourself up on command, the power to rip out souls, or the power to be a jacket. Overall, just a huge assortment of possibilities, and One Piece takes all these possibilities and just goes nuts with them. However, Paramecias also have one other category. The user becomes Z. But wait, you say, finger raised and swirly glasses shining in the sun. That's the same thing as Logia, isn't it? Sorta. See, Logias have the ability to turn into their element, i.e. they can turn it on and off. Underneath all their shapeshifting, they retain their regular flesh and blood bodies. These Z-type Paramecias, though, their bodies become whatever their power is, with the best example for the longest time being Luffy himself. Luffy ate the GumGum fruit, which makes it so his body is just straight up made of rubber. While on the surface, that sounds like something nobody would ever want, it actually offers up some pretty neat benefits. On top of having total passive immunity to things like falling damage, blunt weapons, and the average bullet, he's also got the power of always having a rubber on hand.
Whoa, whoops, oh! I dropped my monster condom that I used for my Magnum Dong.
Logias, meanwhile, can still be hurt like a normal person if their powers ever stop working for whatever reason, which is something that can happen under the right circumstances. Or if it's funny. Flexibility is really the name of the game here. Creativity is an important part of every devil fruit, but Paramecias are the ones that tend to benefit from it the most. The blow yourself up fruit that I mentioned a second ago lets you explode any part of your body, including things your body creates. And so the user starts blowing his breath into his gun to have infinite explosive ammunition. While Paramecias won't come with the immediate power of a Logia or the insane durability of a Zoan, out of the three fruit categories, they definitely have the most potential for growth. Speaking of, with the vast array of opposing forces in this series, you'd think that would mean that better power equals better fighter, but One Piece sets up from the very beginning that creatively using your power is way more important than how strong it is innately. No matter what kind of ability you might have, seriously training with a devil fruit can help you unlock new, better ways of using it, and relying too heavily on your fruit is a good way to wind up dead.
Nice one. Good thinking.
I'd be worried he might show up again if I didn't know for a fact that he can't swim.
With the strength of this current, being able to swim wouldn't matter anyway.
That was so brave of you!
I mean, just take a look at this guy. This handsome specimen here is the user of the Swamp fruit, or the Numa Numa fruit if you want the Japanese name. This is a Logia that gives the users the power of a swamp, and with it, he can turn his body into a literal bottomless bog, storing things he has inside and whipping out stuff like Gatling guns or big ol' scythe whenever he wants. On top of that, whenever he transforms, he becomes this huge, goopy mud pile that can slide into small spaces and capture entire groups of people in a matter of seconds. He's also got a penchant for killing people by just grabbing their face with a swamp ball and laughing as they flail around, unable to breathe or even get a hold of his intangible body. It's a really, really scary power, and in the hands of a sadistic guy like this, it could potentially make for a seriously lethal enemy. Yeah, he gets one shot by a turtle. Whoa, hey, you say again, your pocket protector gleaming in the moonlight. Not only is that a lion and not a turtle, but how did he punch somebody who supposedly can't even be hit in the first place? Well, actually, this guy is already a lion. He's one of the other furries I mentioned earlier. However, he did eat the turtle fruit, which gives him all the frightening powers of the legendary creature, while at the same time giving him access to the exclusive Turtle Club. Aside from that though, you're right. Normally, he shouldn't have been able to even make contact with the Logia user, and yet somehow he was able to gut punch Shrek's backyard with ease. There is a spoiler-filled reason for it, but the lesson here is that there's no such thing as an invincible or weak power in One Piece. It all comes down to how good you are at utilizing it. The swamp guy here had way too much confidence in his Logia's intangibility aspect, so his resilience to actually taking hits in a fight sucked some major chode fruit.
People with Logia devil fruit powers always end up dying young. You fools think that power makes you invincible. Get out.
Now, I'm pretty sure that most of us would still eat a devil fruit right away if given the chance, even with the drawback of never being able to swim again. Not only would you get a super cool power, or whatever this is, but you'd also have a much better chance when going up against somebody else with one. But what if you're a normal person in this world without a devil fruit of your own? If you happen to be fighting somebody who has a power, is that it? Are you just screwed?
Oh, you silly, feeble-minded little gay. I'm so far beyond Fortnite.
For any regular person, the easiest way to kill any devil fruit user is to just yeet them into the ocean. Unless there's somebody nearby to dive in and save them, once they hit that seawater, they're as good as dead. If that's not an option though, there's also a special metal in this universe called Sea Prism Stone that has the same devil fruit nullification properties as the ocean itself. In other words, putting something like a Sea Prism handcuff on a fruit user will make them super lethargic and keep them from using their powers while they're touching it. Also, if you make a bullet out of the stuff, you could even shoot somebody like Luffy or a Logia user no problem. The downside to Sea Prism though is that it's relatively hard to come by for the average citizen. Usually just the Marines or high-ranking pirate crews can even get their hands on it in the first place. So if you aren't fortunate enough to be near the ocean, or if you don't have the connections to get yourself well armed, you might think that you just don't stand a chance. However, most devil fruits have inherent weaknesses that can be exploited if you know about them. Like Luffy's rubber fruit does indeed make him immune to blunt objects, but bladed objects will still damage him just fine. For Logias, if you hit them with something that their element is naturally weak against, you can bypass their defenses and hit their real bodies. As an example, somebody with a snow-based Logia would still be weak to heat, so hitting them with a hot piece of metal would be enough to damage them. And while it hasn't been said outright in universe, I imagine Smoker might have trouble using his fruit in high winds.
Adam!
Aside from Logias though, there are still plenty of other powers out there that, while pretty OP in their own right, still have glaring weaknesses that can prove fatal if you aren't careful. In one of the early One Piece movies, we see the liquid fruit, a Logia that lets you turn your body into a mysterious unnamed liquid. The user of this fruit uses it to engulf her enemies and either capture or just straight up drown them, and she can also use it to escape into things like drains or cracks in the cement. Even though this one isn't actually canon, like most Logia fruits, just eating it makes her nigh invincible against most attacks. But at the end of the day, she is still just a massive mysterious liquid, which means that if you want to beat her, you can just do this. Sometimes though, even without built-in drawbacks, you do have devil fruits that can counter each other. Take the barrier power. The berry fruit is a Paramecias type that lets its user create and control unbreakable barriers, a la Mr. Mime. This isn't a matter of a strong enough enemy could punch right through to show just how dang cool they are. These things are literally unbreakable, easily tanking a hit that destroyed an entire castle in one shot. It's pretty much just the word no given physical form. However, if you can trick the user into leaving a part of himself unguarded, or if you have a way to slip past the barrier in the first place, you can still take him out, which is where something like the door fruit would really shine. As you've probably already guessed from the name, the door fruit lets its user make doors. This is unironically one of my favorite devil fruits. It sounds bad at first, but it makes for a scarily effective infiltration tool. No matter what kind of defense there is between you and your target, you can just... Not only that, but Homeboy here can make a door in the air and go to another dimension. It's awesome. Anyway, imagine what a battle between the barrier user and the door user might end up looking like.
Stand back! This room is protected by the
Berry fruit.
Give me all your money!
Actually, come to think of it, there's a lot of powers that could beat the barrier fruit, aren't there? You could use the Glint Glint fruit's light-based powers to just beam your way through it, or you could use the Hollow Hollow fruit and its power of weaponized depression.
I'm not even fit to be dog food.
As a whole, the Devil Fruit power system is one of my favorites. There's so many weird and diverse abilities in One Piece, but because of the hard restrictions it puts on them, none of them ever feel too out of place. And honestly, I love every Devil Fruit, even the really stupid ones. I love thinking about how a Devil Fruit might be powered up, what its counters might be, how it could be used in a fight, and I love spewing all of this out to anyone that's unlucky enough to find themselves in a conversation with me, as my group chat could probably attest to. Hey guys, how's it going?
Shut up. This again. Are you serious? Shut up about I don't even care, pirates. I don't even know anything about One Piece.
Are you kidding me?
Just shut up, man.
But with all that said, that's about the end of the video. I actually splintered the script for this one off of a larger One Piece video that I would still very much like to make at some point, so keep an eye out for that sometime in the far future. At the very least, I hope I was able to answer some lingering questions about Devil Fruits that some of you might have had. Or if you already knew all of this, I hope I portrayed it in a way that makes sense. And if you're brand new to the world of One Piece, this kind of in-depth world building is just the tip of the iceberg. Should you choose to take the plunge into the series proper after this, I can promise you'll be enjoying the ride. But for now, that'll be all. Thank you for watching, and I hope I can see you next time in the— Hey, I see you! Don't you dare!